Welcome back, everybody, to another exciting Duckman garage, some kind of special for hurricanes and stuff. I don't even know why I'm doing a video about this, but people keep asking, so I guess I'm back. Sorry about the little muff up here. I got a muff on this microphone to try to help prevent the wind from hitting this, but truly it's not even windy yet like I expected it might have been. Anyway, Hurricane Helene is headed up this way, but she's going to be hitting roughly 200 miles to the east of here. And kind of like Hurricane Michael, who's about 100, 120 miles to the east of here, very likely to see probably little to nothing. I might get some cool winds out of the north, because as the thing spins, it's going to draw that cool air out of the north, which usually makes for really nice weather here. And like during Hurricane Michael, we may not even have any clouds at all. I'm kind of surprised that we even see any clouds here at all at the moment, but the storm's pretty far away. It's down by the Yucatan Peninsula right now, and this is like the tail that's coming off of it, kind of like a little comma. And as the storm gets closer, we're going to be on the west side of it, which is usually the good side to be on. You don't want to be on the east. So Tallahassee, the Big Bend area, Perry, some of the other cities over there, Gainesville, anything north of Tampa all the way up to Tallahassee is going to be seeing some pretty nasty stuff. Including my friends over in Fort Myers, where I used to live. They've already got long gas lines, and everybody's out of toilet paper. Nobody needs toilet paper. You could easily dip your ass in your bathtub and wash your ass. Frankly, you'll smell a whole lot better. Nobody needs toilet paper. Anyway, we're going to have a quick walk around the yard. I've been putting things up just in case we're going to have any kind of winds at all. Remember my garage tents the last time when Sally hit over here, they ended up in the trees, and they were a good 10 years old at that point. I was very disappointed that they were way up there, and I was able to toss a rope around them and pull them down and get them out of the trees. But since then, we've recovered that one because the tree guys damaged it when they were doing some cutting here. And that one, the new cover, I haven't put it on it yet. I've actually got a tarp over the inside of the bus that's in there to keep it dry. But yeah, it's been raining into it for a little while. But that tear that's on the top of it, you can see it right there. If the wind gets a hold of that, it's probably going to shred the tent up. So, it's a few things I need to take care of. This awning over here needs to come down. This is only like last minute kind of stuff. If the storm is coming this way, I'm going to lock down as much of it as I can. This bus body that's over here, let me turn this microphone around so you guys get a little bit better quality audio. And, well, before we do that, licky, likey, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to plug that dingle bell so you get updates every time I upload a video. Check out duckshit.net for more of my social media links. And we're going to turn this microphone around so you don't have to look at a muff, although some of you guys, I'm sure, love muff. Little muff on the top, you know? There it is. Anyways, we'll be back right after the intro. Alright, I'm going to take this bus body, I'm going to put it back on top of this chassis to keep these engines dry, and then I'm going to throw a couple of tie downs over it, and then pile up some cinder blocks next to it. And we're not expecting like 200-mile-an-hour winds. If we do get anything, it might be, you know, some good gusts at 35, 45 miles an hour, which could be enough to toss the body around and maybe chip a, you know, chunk off of it or something if it does. This pile of rubbish here is going to be an issue, but again, I'm going to take more cinder blocks and just pile it on top of this with an old tarp and just get this thing smashed down. Yeah, I could probably make a fire or something today, but I'm not too worried about that either. I got some more rubbish that needs to go in there too. And here's my other garage tent that the tree guys replaced for me. I still haven't pulled it out of there since it was damaged, so something I need to address. That's why I got the tarp on it, just try to keep it dry. But anyway, obviously it hasn't stayed very dry. I'm going to do something with that, just it's not going to be anytime soon. Here's my generator. I pulled the ripcord out of it trying to get it running. I don't know if the HIPAA store has these, but we'll be checking them out for sure. But unfortunately, I don't have this generator running, but I do have another one in the shed. I'm going to pull it out if I need it. Tomorrow is going to be the last chance I have to fix it. But good news is, it uses the same engine parts that's on my KT196 go-kart. So in the worst case scenario, if something isn't working right or I need to borrow my HIPAA carburetor from the other machine to get it going, I can do that. And I'll know tomorrow. And I'm not waiting till last minute. It's more like we're probably not going to get hit, so I really don't have the least concern. But the only thing I might need power for would be for my refrigerator, and right behind that window I have an egg incubator with about 10 eggs in it right now that are very close to hatching. They're going to start hatching this weekend. Tarp stuff like this needs to come down. Up on top of the chicken house, I'm going to put some more pieces of wood up on top here to hold this tarp down. Some people said, oh man, it's caving in. It's not caving in. It's actually a fabric top. It's like a tonneau cover. and it just happens to have a cozy coop sitting on it that fell into it. So it's like a giant hammock. And one of the legs, or one of the cross pieces on this is broken because some idiot a long time ago climbed over my fence and tried to walk along the top of it, and it gave out on him, and I'm sure he busted his ass, which I don't know who it was, but I find it hilarious. I need to get up there and take down my flower pots. I have some gourds planted, and they're just not doing well. It just seems like I don't know what the hell I'm doing with these things. 3 of them died. The last one's kind of hanging in there. I'm going to put some blue water on it later today and see if we can get it to come around, but I think it's finished. Pepper plants I do much better with. When I try to plant pumpkins or acorn squash or anything, I don't know. I can't handle it. Or maybe it's the weather. I have no idea. But I need to pick up back here just the loose things. You know, there's not going to be a whole lot flying around out here. It's not going to be too bad. I'd like to get to work on this a little bit more. There's not much left on this, guys. Really, I just need to make a couple of wiring plugins behind the dashboard, which you can see I pull it up. So I need to get to the back of the gauge and plug in all the lights. If you can even see that, you might have a glare, but I need to plug in all the light bulbs that were missing from it. Need to get that all hooked up, wired, and then I have test lights, or indicator lights, or idiot lights, I should say, so I can finally get this engine started. So that's where I'm at on this one. But this one is like minutes from getting finished. I just need to go around it and then just tighten down the bolts and things that are in the fenders and put the rest of the lights back together. We got new lenses for them, so I'm glad I didn't tighten all the screws yet. Not that it's that hard of a job, but I'm going to replace the lenses on them. We also got brand new tail lights for the rear, because the old ones in the back were all crusty. I made brand new wiring harnesses for them, so we'll get that all hooked up. And the engine in there still needs the carburetors connected to it. That was the first thing I was working on this car, and it's going to end up being the last thing that I'm dealing with on this car. And then all the loose stuff that's up here, I need to just throw it into a box and then just tuck it inside the car to keep it safe. It's only if it's going to blow down. Over here, I got a set of carburetors for a local car dealership that has me working on a Porsche. That's theirs. They have a 356 kit car. It's a little speedster. I'll put a little video of it up here on the screen. But anyway, the carbs are just really cruddy. Particularly, one of them was so bad it wasn't getting any fuel at all. Probably the float valve is stuck. So these are going to go in this bath. We'll get these things cleaned up and probably get them reinstalled sometime this week. It's funny that the local dealer guys are now calling me for air-cooled work because they know their mechanics don't know what they're doing. They say, who in the area is good? And my name seems to always come up. I'm very grateful. You probably don't hear the roosters because they're inside. It's still early in the day, and I just heard Cheeky in the garage up there. She might be making a nest. Oh, nope, she's on the floor. She must have fallen down. Here she is right there. Poor Cheeky. Did you wipe out? She likes to make a nest in the blankets that are up there. So, anyway, I need to pick up here in the garage, but I've just been throwing things in the garage, trying to stop them from getting wet or blown around. This past week, I also worked on this transmission. Man, I've just been pushing things out of here this week, like, really fast as possible. Just so this way, people that own these things don't get stuck with, you know, something that's waterlogged or damaged or otherwise. This was one such thing here. I had to replace the axles in it. And the seals and everything on this had all been looked like Honda bonded or Yama bonded. Everybody that put this together, or whoever put this together, not everybody, but whoever put this together, glued the side panels on the case. And I suppose it prevented it from leaking, but it just made it so hard to get apart. And then there was so much cleaning involved to get it fixed so that way you could put it back together properly with the appropriate gaskets and everything, so that way it all seats properly, looks good, and is fully functional. So this sucker is ready to go. I've actually just finished it. I went through and replaced all the seals on it. I started to replace the fulcrum plates. That's what these guys are in there. Turned out we didn't need them. He only gave me 2. The transmission typically uses 4. But when I looked at the ones that was in here, they were brand new. Everything on the inside of this looked like it had no wear on it. So whoever took this apart took it apart somewhat recently. And that's been a good thing for whoever owns this. This transmission is probably in good shape. So anyway, I'll give it a good bath, and it'll probably leave to the owner today. This lawnmower here belongs to my neighbor. It's something I gave to her or sold to her. No, I traded it for a go-kart a couple years ago. And it's been running good until just recently. Now it starts up, runs for 2 seconds, and shuts back off. So only when you hit that primer bulb on the side of it does it run. So I need to pull the carburetor off this and also throw it in the bath with those Porsche carburetors and get it cleaned. It's probably all it needs. I don't see why it would need any more than that. And wow, that wheel got bald. Look at that. This does have a auto drive on it, drive function. So you pull the bar in and it will literally, drive itself along. this is a nice mower, especially for anybody that struggles, you know, with their strength, their physical strength to do things. And this mower's, again, good for that. Okay, well, let me go show you what's going on up front. I'm going to go through the fence over here. Currently got Ruby out because we're about to go for a ride. But the orange bus is gone. Here we are up here. This is what replaced the orange bus. The orange bus was the only Volkswagen that I've ever had to turn away. And I don't like saying what I have to say, but when it was dropped off to me, I was told that all it needed was a distributor timed on it and perhaps a little bit of adjustments on the carburetor, and it should be ready to go and out the door. So it should be an easy thing, right? Spend a couple hours on it and you're done. Well, as the story goes on, and it arrived here not running at all, the owner rebuilt the engine himself. So I went in there and I went to start it, and when I turned the key, it would kind of go rup, 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 and it was constantly getting stuck, what seems like on one of the cylinders, and it was for an unknown reason. I don't know why. I figured it was maybe just a bad battery, so I put it on charge. It didn't seem to get it. I put the battery booster on it, which gave it enough power to be able to push it past that point. And once we got it past that point, it then fired and started to run, but it sounded like just somebody crushing broken glass. So I immediately cut it off, and I called the owner, and I said, listen, I know you rebuilt this engine. It's the first time you ever rebuilt an air-cooled engine. So I can't fix this in the current state it's in. The bus engine needs to come out, and the cases need to be split on it. It needs to be gone through. In its current condition, I don't know what's wrong. I can't find anything in the fans. I don't know if there's something in the clutch. I just can't handle it without dropping the engine out of it, and I'm on a time crunch because I got to get other things out of here with the hurricane coming and everything else, blah, blah, blah. So he sent by some of his friends, which kind of surprised me because they were from an organized motorcycle club. Thankfully, I was, on good terms with everybody. I didn't charge them anything. I didn't even trade anything. I asked for nothing for the work I did on the bus. I said, it doesn't work. I can't get it working, and it's beyond the scope of what I can handle here in the amount of time that I have. I said, I don't have enough space to split the cases on. I don't have a workbench. I don't have a dry area to take an engine apart. I just can't do it. And I'm sorry, but just no. But I continued to reach out to other Volkswagen people in the area, and of the people that I trust was Wild Bill and two other guys. Both of the two other guys are currently moving. One is leaving the area going back to Jacksonville, which is kind of what's going to get hit with hurricane later on this week. And the other guy is just moving around in a local area and doesn't have the room, time, or space to handle it at the moment until probably November. So we'll hit him up again later. And the last guy was Wild Bill. And Wild Bill is also interested in it, but he's not interested in dropping the engine out of the bus because, again, space limitations. But if the engine were taken out by somebody else and brought to him, he would be glad to see if he could tune it, fix it, or whatever he's got to do with it to make it work properly. But that crunching glass thing really has him concerned also. Nobody knows exactly what's going on in there, and the owner of the engine and the bus did say that when he was putting it together, he was having problems with cam gear bolts and clearancing the oil pump. And as soon as I heard that, I talked to Wild Bill, and he says, yeah, that's something that could happen. And, well, that was his concern, and that's quite a possibility with the kind of noise that I was hearing. That's what it was. So anyway, once that left, this came in. This is not the same red convertible Beetle that you've seen here in the past. This is a Super Beetle, and you can tell by the completely different hood that it has here, a big fat hood. It is a flat windshield, though. It is a 1972, the last year for the flat windshield Super Beetles. And yes, not all Super Beetles had a curved windshield, although technically, if you want to get on it, it is curved. You can see it does have a little bit of a bubble, but if you look at it dead on, it looks flat. It's just not the big goldfish bowl windshield that you typically find on later Super Beetles. But this one came here, another somebody's project that was half completed. And it was brought to me with an engine that I was told was running. It just didn't idle properly. And I started to put it into the car, and I had a hell of a fight with this because, again, this was somebody else's incomplete job. So I'm finding things that they did, or finding things that they made just a mess out of things. They put things in places I couldn't find them. They were missing bolts and hardware. It's been an issue since day one on this thing when I got it over here, trying to put things together. If everything were where it belonged and everything were labeled or easy to find, and I didn't have a whole bunch of nonsense like an over-tightened clutch cable that stopped me from pushing the engine in, that was frustrating as hell. I never imagined that would have ever been a problem, but that's what it was on here. The actual throwout bearing was pushing the engine back. You could push it in and it would just spring right back. And I honestly didn't expect that to be an issue. Anyway, I was working on it a little bit this morning. I got to put the air cleaner back on. It's on the ground over here. So, anyway, trying to put the engine back into this thing and see if we can get it running. I'd like to have it out of here before the storm comes, if we get any storm at all. I've been diligent about communicating with the owner about it, and he agrees he'd like to get it back too before that happens. It does have a convertible top. It wasn't fitting properly. I made some adjustments as best as I could, so that way, if it gets lightly rained on, it should be okay. I mean, if there's a huge deluge, I mean, like, the way it rains around here sometimes, it's going to get wet. There are some things like over here that don't seem to seal up right. This window doesn't want to go up any higher than it does. I don't understand why that is. I don't usually get into this convertible stuff too much. This stuff usually goes to an upholsterer, and then they figure out, you know, where this thing needs to be stretched down and how this is supposed to fit. And they make the adjustments to the seals and everything on the inside. But convertible tops are not my forte. This is not something that I typically work on. But again, just the engine is what it came out for. And it's just about there. I mean, I've got it shoved in now. I just need to get the bolts tightened up on it, hook up the electrical, hook up the fuel line, and see if we can get it started. The battery in here has not been used in months, so there's a good possibility the battery is completely toast. In fact, it's very, very likely the battery is toast, because when the batteries around here sit in the Florida summer sun, inside of a Volkswagen, when it gets hotter than hell, the batteries tend to perish. They live a very, very short death. And that's actually what happened to the battery in Big Blue last summer. And I left her parked for a few months. Anyway, that pissed me off too, because, you know, it's like $300 later, new battery. Yay. Okay. Well, we're going to get this thing squared up too and get this thing out of the way. And hopefully out of here before the storm, if there's a storm at all. Otherwise, still blue skies for the moment. There is a very, very light breeze. Very light breeze. Not even enough to shake the leaves on the trees. Just barely moving at all. It's a little hot out here. It's just below 90. It's probably going to get a little warmer before the day completes, but that's what I got going on this week, and you may not see any good or new videos out of me until at least the weekend, depending upon how the weather goes. I'll know more about what the storm's going to do to us come Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening, through Friday. And if there's going to be a complete disaster, there's going to be a bigger issue. I may be away for a couple days because the storm may take my power out, or my internet, or maybe both. There we go, put that on there. Of course, if there is any good chance to record the storm, I'll do the best that I can for that. And whenever I get it back online, well, that's when I get it back online. Alright, well, I guess we're going to wrap up this video for today. We're about to take Ruby out to run some errands. I got to hit a few stores and things to get some things for regular shopping day stuff, not like hurricane supply things. But just a little bit of this and that. I need to make a couple of bank deposits. I'm full of gas, though. I fueled up everything last week, and I don't do a whole lot of driving, to be honest with you. Yeah, we had the trip around the track last weekend. And when you're on the track on that high slope, you want to make sure you have gas in that tank. Because if you don't, it all sloshes to one side. And then your vehicle stalls on the track. And everybody looks at you and laughs at you. Alright, well, I guess that's it for today. So, licky, likey, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to pluck that dingle bell so you get updates every time I upload a video. Check out DuckShit.net for all my different social media links. And we'll get back with you guys sometime soon, in the next week or so, with some new videos. Meanwhile, if I do have power, I have some old tech session videos I need to upload, so you may see those over on the other channel. Thanks you guys for watching. We'll see you on the next go-around.